Welcome back. Let us start with the last subject of our semester 4 of B.Ed, that is research methods and basic statistics. Let us start with the first unit, that is research in education. What I have observed generally is many students are facing this subject a bit challenging. I have given the answers in such a way that they're very easy to understand. Just with one reading, you can understand it very easily. I have put in a lot of hard work to make them very easy. So if you have any concerns, you can please mention them in the comments. And also, whichever questions I found them a bit tricky, I have given easy way for you all to learn it also, learn and memorize that question. Let's get started. Define research and explain the characteristics of educational research. Research is a systematic, scientific, and objective investigation carried out to discover new knowledge. Not only new knowledge, it is also used to verify existing facts, solve problems. It is a process of inquiry that involves careful planning, data collection, analysis, and interpretation. Inquiry is nothing but questioning. In the field of education, research is very much essential for improving teaching learning processes, understanding learning behavior, developing effective curriculum and evaluation methods, solving classroom and institutional problems. Let us split the word research. R stands for rational way of thinking, that is logical reasoning, critical thinking, systematic approach. E is expert and exhaustive treatment. S is search for solution with scientific approach. E is exactness. A is analytical analysis of adequate data. R is relationship of facts. C is careful planning, recording observations, constructive attitude, compact generalization. Okay. H is for honesty and hard work. Characteristics of educational research. It is systematic and organized. It is empirical in nature. That is, it is based on evidences, observation, and actual data. That is, numerical data. It is objective and unbiased, logical and scientific approach, replicable and verifiable. Okay, that means it can be repeated and it can be verified by other researchers, ensuring credibility. It is problem oriented and purposeful, accurate, precise, and reliable, analytical and critical. What are the types of research? First type is basic research, that is fundamental research. The primary aim of this is expanding the knowledge and developing new theories. That is, whatever knowledge is available, just expansion of that knowledge. It does not focus on immediate practical application, but lays foundation for future research and innovations. What are its characteristics? It's analytical and explanatory. It focuses on theoretical development, as we have already seen. It does not focus on immediate practical application. Main emphasis is given on the theory. Seeks to discover new facts and principles, conducted in a controlled and ideal environment, and deals with abstract ideas and complex relationships. Its uses are: it helps in advancement of scientific knowledge, provides a strong theoretical base, and contributes to the development of new concepts, models, and frameworks. Examples are study on how memory works in children, research on cognitive development stages, and investigation into learning theories like constructivism. Second type of research is applied research. Applied research focuses on solving real life problems by applying the existing theory and knowledge. It is practical in nature, whereas basic research is theoretical in nature. It aims at immediate utility and improvement, correct opposite to the basic research. What are its characteristics? It is problem solving oriented. It is conducted in real life settings. It uses existing theories for practical application, and it is useful and it produces useful and actionable research. So it is very practical in nature. What are its uses? It improves teaching strategies and students' performance, helps in policy formation and educational planning. It provides solution to specific issues like low student achievement and absenteeism. Examples include action research to improve classroom discipline, Evaluation research to assess a curriculum. R&D research, that is research and development research to develop new teaching tools or digital platforms. Study on effectiveness of online versus offline learning. So these are the examples. So these are the differences between basic research and applied research. Next is quantitative research. As the name itself tells, it is mainly focusing on the quantity or numerical values. Okay, it involves the collection analysis of numerical data to identify patterns, relationships, and trends. It is highly structured and objective. What are the characteristics? It uses structured tools like questionnaires, tests, and surveys. Focuses on measurable variables such as scores, percentages, and frequencies. It employs statistical techniques like mean, median, and mode, that is correlation. It produces objective, reliable, and generalizable results. It uses large sample size. What are its uses? It helps in testing hypotheses scientifically. It enables comparison between groups, supports decision making through statistical evidence. These are the examples. Qualitative research. It focuses on understanding the human experiences, behaviors, emotions, and social interactions. There is no numerical value for it. Okay. It uses non-numerical. What are its characteristics? It uses non-numerical data like interviews, observations, case studies, etc. It is flexible and open-ended approach. It focuses on depth and detail rather than quantity. It provides rich, descriptive, and contextual information. What are its uses? It helps in understanding students' attitude, beliefs, and motivation. It helps in generating new ideas and hypotheses. It explores complex educational and social issues. These are the examples, like interviewing students about various learning difficulties. Then comes experimental research. Experimental research, as the name itself suggests, it is conducted to establish cause and effect relationship. What is the cause and what effect does it produce? By manipulating one variable and observing its effect on under controlled conditions. That is, you keep one constant and you keep changing the others. Okay. John Stuart Mill's method. Okay. He gave 5 methods, that is method of agreement, method of different, joint method, method of residues, and method of concomitant variation. What is method of agreement? It identifies common factors present in all situations when a phenomenon occurs. Then method of difference, it compares the situations with and without a factor to find the effect. Joint method, combination of agreement and difference for more accuracy. Then method of residues. It eliminates the known factors to identify unknown causes. Okay, all known factors are eliminated and what is left out? The unknown factor. Method of concomitant variation. It observes how changes in one variable affect the other. What are the characteristics of experimental research? They are conducted under controlled and structured environment. It involves independent and dependent variables. Uses experimental and control groups. Ensures random assignment, okay, to avoid bias. Relies on systematic and precise data collection. Its uses, what are its uses in education? It helps in testing effectiveness of teaching methods and instructional materials. In business, it helps in testing products, advertisement, and strategies. So examples are, well-known examples are Bobo doll experiment. Okay, this showed how children imitate aggressive behavior. Okay, Bobo doll is a model. In Stanford prison experiment, it studied the effects of roles and authority on behavior. Then exploratory research. Exploratory research is conducted when a problem is not clearly defined and more information is needed. That is, exploration is done. It is What are the characteristics? It is flexible and open-ended. It focuses on exploration and discovery. It helps in formulation of hypotheses. It identifies new research problems. It provides initial understanding for unknown areas. It guides in future detailed research studies. There are 4 types again in this exploratory research. secondary research that uses existing data, qualitative research that uses interviews and discussions in the research work, primary research that employs collection of new data, and pilot studies that is for small scale studies. Then comes literature review. It involves studying and analyzing the existing research books, journals, and articles related to a topic. What are the characteristics? It's based on secondary data source. That is, someone else has written the literature and you are studying it. It involves critical evaluation and comparison. It is organized and systematic. What is the uses? It establishes background and context of the study. It identifies the gaps in educational existing research. That is, you have to read the literature to identify where the gaps are. And also you will get a lot of background knowledge. It evaluates quality and reliability of studies, synthesizes information from multiple sources. That is, you get to know a lot of information from multiple sources, and it guides the future research direction. Okay. Example, reviewing studies on inclusive educational practices. Okay. Then case study research. Case study is an intensive research is an intensive and detailed study of a single individual, group, or institution over a period of time. What are its characteristics? It focuses on in-depth and holistic understanding. It uses multiple sources of data like interviews, observations, and records. It studies real-life situations. Uses are, it helps in understanding complex educational and psychological issues. It is useful for developing theories and practical insights. What are the types of case study research? Exploratory, descriptive, intrinsic, collective, and instrumental. Okay, these are the examples. Then the last one is observational research. It involves observing subjects in their natural environment without interference. What are its characteristics? It is conducted in natural settings. It uses qualitative method like observing and recording. It provides realistic and reliable data. It is used when experiments are not possible or ethical. What are its uses? It understands the actual classroom behavior, helps in studying social interactions and group dynamics. Examples, observing students' participation in classroom activities. Okay. So since the answer is very big, I have provided an easy way to remember the answer. Okay. This is the trick that you have to, this is the entire summary of the answer. And this is the trick that you have to remember, to write the answer. Question number 3. Write a short note on action research. Action research is a systematic, reflective, and scientific approach that is carried out by teachers to identify, analyze, and solve real life problems in their immediate environment, especially classroom situation. Action research is like immediately what you can do to improve the situation. That is action research. It is practice oriented research that focuses on improving the existing condition. Okay. It is focused on the present condition. It is called action research because it combines both action, that is implementing solution, and research. Purpose of action research: to solve immediate and practical classroom problems, improve teaching methods, enhance student learning outcomes and participation and engagement, develop reflective thinking and scientific attitude among teachers, support continuous professional development and innovation in teaching, and bridge the gap between educational theory and classroom practice. What is the process of action research? Action research is a systematic and cyclical process. Okay, first you identify the problem, then you plan accordingly, then you act, that is the implementation. Then again, observe, observe the action, then analyze and reflect. This is a continuous process. After analyzing, again you identify another problem, again plan, again take action, observe the action, again analyze and reflect. So this is a continuous cycle. Action research cycle: first planning, action, analysis, and reflection. This is nothing but the summary of this process. 5 steps in action research. First, identify the problem, then plan the action, then implement the action, then observe the data collection. Okay, and then reflect and conclude. This is nothing but the explanation of process of action research. Features of action research. It is practical and problem solving oriented. It is small scale. It is not done in a very huge scale. It is small scale and localized. It is participatory and collaborative. It is flexible and dynamic. It is cyclical and continuous. Immediate application of the results. What are the benefits? Teaching effectiveness and classroom management. It improves teaching effectiveness and classroom management skills. Enhances student achievement and motivation and participation. It makes teachers more creative and innovative. Promotes professional growth. It provides quick, practical and cost-effective solutions. Develops scientific and reflective attitudes in educators. So these are the examples of action research. And this is a sample research proposal you can go through. Title, problem statement, objective, methodology, data collection tools, and expected outcomes. Differentiate between qualitative research and quantitative research. There are qualitative research focuses on understanding human behaviors, experiences, and meanings, whereas quantitative research focuses on numerical data, measurement, and statistical analysis. Both approaches are equally important. So this is the differences between qualitative and quantitative. So what are the points that are to be discussed? Nature of data, purpose, approach, data collection methods, sample size, data analysis, flexibility, outcome, research design, and an example is also given. What are the steps in educational research? First, identify the research problem. It's very important. Identify the research problem or the question. This is the foundation of the entire process. So the researcher identifies a specific issue or the problem that needs investigation. Okay. Example, what factors affect students' performance in mathematics? So this is the problem that the person has identified. Then literature review. He has to go through a lot of books, research papers, journals, online resources, what has already been to know what has already been done in the field. Okay. Example, reviewing studies on teaching methods in mathematics before conducting your own study. So a strong background knowledge is very, very important before proceeding to the research. Then research design. This is a blueprint or plan of action for the research. It defines how the research should be conducted. Okay, it ensures validity and reliability. Then fourth one is data collection. So after a research is designed, after the plan of action is planned out, the next step is to gather the accurate information. Data, the gathering of information, there are two kinds of data. Primary data that is collected directly through tests, surveys, interviews, and secondary data that is collected from existing sources like book reports and records. So these are the various tools used like questionnaires, interviews, observation, tests, etc. Okay. This is the example, conducting a survey among students to collect data on study habits. Then data analysis. Okay. Now we have collected the data. The data is not organized. The data is unorganized, just in bits and pieces. Okay. Now this raw data in data analysis, the raw data that has been collected is organized, processed, and is interpreted systematically. Okay. Various charts, graphs, and tables are used to represent it in proper way. So various methods are used, that is qualitative research and quantitative research. Then the sixth step is interpretation and discussion. Okay, it gives meaning and explanation to the previously analyzed data. Okay, this is the this is interpretation of data. It transforms knowledge into understanding. Then the seventh point is conclusion and recommendation. It will summarize the key findings and outcome of the research. It is basically summary. Okay, it provides clear and concise conclusions. If any questions are there, it will answer the research questions. Okay. And what is the scope for future research also is mentioned in this conclusion and recommendation section. The last one is publication and dissemination. Okay, it is the step where the final step wherein the research findings are shared with others. So the research is presented through research reports, journals, journals and articles, seminar and conference. Without this final step, dissemination, that is sharing with others, nobody will know that that research work has been done, and it will not have an impact. There is no use of that or doing that whole research. Okay, so sharing of that research, that is dissemination, should be there. What is experimental research? Explain its types. Experimental research is a systematic and a scientific method that is used to study the cause and effect relationship. That is, what is the cause of a particular phenomena and what effect it is producing between variables. It is conducted to find out what will happen if a particular variable is changed. Okay. In this type of research, there are mainly two variables. One is the independent variable and one is the dependent variable. So the researcher will deliberately, wantedly, he will manipulate or change one variable, that is the independent variable, and will observe its effect on the other variable, that is the dependent variable. Okay, and he keeps all the other factors constant. So he will manipulate one variable, that is he keeps on changing one variable, that is the independent variable, and observe the effect that is caused on the other variable, that is the dependent variable. Now experimental research involves objective, controlled and systematic investigation. Okay, now controlled and systematic investigation are self-explanatory. I want to take a minute and explain what objectivity in research is. Objectivity is nothing but it is the ability of the researcher to conduct a particular study in an unbiased, there is no bias, there is no difference, neutral and impartial manner. Okay, that means he is not influenced by any kind of personal feelings, opinions, or beliefs. Okay, it means that the research findings or whatever he has obtained out of the research are purely based on facts, evidences, that is proofs, and observable data. Even somebody from outside comes and he can observe that data which he has drawn. Okay, and no kind of personal judgment of the researcher is used. Okay, this is the meaning of objectivity. Okay, so objectivity is very important in the research. Okay, for example, a researcher wants to study whether using digital teaching methods improve students' performance. So in this case, teaching method is changed. Various kinds of teaching methods are being used and the effect of student performance is observed. Okay, teaching methods are continuously being changed and its effect is studied on the student's performance. Okay, so teaching method here is the independent variable and the effect on the student's performance is the dependent variable, and all the other various factors are kept constant. What are all the other factors in this scenario? The number of students, then the teacher, then the classroom environment, all these are kept constant. Okay, now what are the key concepts in experimental research? First is independent variable. So these are various terms that are used in experimental research. Independent variable, okay, that is the variable that can be manipulated or changed. Dependent variable, the variable that is being measured or observed, like teaching method is independent variable that is changing, and effect on students performance is dependent variable that is constant. Okay, then control variables, other factors that are kept constant to avoid affecting results. Example, same syllabus, okay, same classroom environment, I have told, right? Then experimental group, the group that receives the treatment or intervention, that is the students of the particular class. Then control group, the group that does not receive treatment and it is used for comparison. That is, suppose if the study is being done on section A, section B is kept constant and section A is constantly being compared with section A. Okay, both of them comparative studies. Okay, that is the section A on which the test is being done is the is the group that is being tested upon, and section B is the control group. Section A is compared with section B. Okay, then randomization. This is also very important. You will keep on hearing this word in this subject very often. Assigning subjects randomly to groups to reduce bias and ensure fairness. So this randomization, or it's also called random assignment, is very, very important in research. Okay, because random assignment is nothing but it is a process wherein participants are allocated randomly into different groups purely by chance. Okay, no, like if suppose some set of students are there, it is not predefined that student A will go to group A, student B will go to group. It is not predefined. Okay, like randomly students will be distributed in the groups that are available. Okay, this will ensure that there is no bias and that everybody is treated in a fair way, and these students are assigned in the groups purely by chance. Okay, so this is very, very important in experimental research to ensure that there is no bias and everybody is treated in a fair way. I hope you understand. These two are little the randomization or random assignment and objectivity. You will keep finding it. You will keep coming across this word multiple times. That's why I'm explaining it to you so that it will, the more I explain, the more it will get into your mind. So, types of experimental research design. Pre-experimental design. Okay, it is the simplest form of experimental research where there is little or no control over the variables. And here there is no randomization also. That is, there is, since it is being tested for the first time, it is a basic research. The researcher will choose where the particular participant should go, in which group the particular participant should go. That means there is no randomization. Okay, it is used for initial or exploratory studies. Like initial stages, you have to be very careful, right? You can't randomly assign people to various groups. So the researcher will choose where the participant, which group the participant will go to. That means there is no randomization. Okay, what are its characteristics? Lack of random assignment, and does not, since there is no random assignment, it will not provide highly reliable results. The researcher only assigned people to various groups, no? So it will involve lot of bias and lot of judgment in it. So it will not provide highly reliable result. It is easy to conduct and it is cost effective. Then, what are the types of pre-experimental design? One shot case study design, that is one single group only is taken and it is exposed to treatment and then the results are measured. It is done on only one single group. Okay, there is no pre-test or comparison group is not there. It is only one single group. Okay, example, a teacher uses a new teaching method in the class and then checks the students' performance. Simple, over. There is no comparison with another group. Only one group is involved. Okay. The second one is one group pre-test, post-test design. Okay. In this, comparison is there. That means the same group, comparison of the same group before and after. Okay. Okay, comparison not with another group, same group. Same group is tested before and after treatment. It will help measure change due to intervention. Okay, it will help, a person can understand the difference before and after. Example, students are tested before introducing a new teaching method and then tested again after using it. So the difference in score will show the effect of the method. Okay, difference before and after. Then static group comparison. Here, two groups are compared, but there is no random assignment. Okay. Here, pre-experimental design, there is no random assignment. And even in static group comparison also, there is no random assignment. Okay. Here, two groups are compared, they said, no? So how they are compared? One group will receive the treatment and other group remains constant. Both of them are compared. Like comparing two sections where only one section uses smartboard, one section uses smartboard, other section doesn't use, and the teacher or the researcher will compare the difference between the one that uses smartboard and the one that doesn't use smartboard. I hope I'm clear. This question is a bit challenging. That's why I'm explaining every word in detail. The second type is true experimental design. Okay, true experimental design is the most accurate and scientifically valid method. There is full control over the variable. The researcher will take the full control over the variables. The previous one, there is no control over the variables. Now here, there is full control and randomization is used. Whenever the participants are assigned randomly to groups, then it will provide reliable results without any bias and it ensures fairness. Please remember this point. Okay. And there is randomization in true experimental design. What are the characteristics? There is a control group that does not receive the treatment and there is an experimental group that receives the treatment. One group is kept constant and one group is kept changing. Okay. Participants are randomly assigned. Very, very important point. Okay. It produces valid, reliable and generalizable results. That means these results can be used in a variety of situations. Okay, what are the common types? Pre-test, post-test control group design. That is before and after testing will happen. Post-test only control group design. That is only after the experiment results are been observed. Okay, example of this true experimental design is students are randomly divided into two groups. No, pre-allocation. Okay, simply they are allocated in two groups. One group is taught using digital methods, while other group is taught using traditional methods. After a period of time, both the groups are tested and compared for the results. Okay, experimental. This example will clarify, will give you a clarity. Okay, then the third one is quasi-experimental design. Quasi-experimental design. Okay, quasi means almost or partly. That means this experimental design is almost similar to almost experimental in nature, but it is not completely experimental. It does not follow all the rules an experiment should follow. Okay. Okay, therefore, a quasi-experimental design means it will study the cause and effect relationship. Experiment means studying of cause and effect relationship. It will study the cause and effect relationship, but it does not fulfill all the conditions of an experiment. See, random assignment is not there. Quasi-experimental design is used when random assignment is not possible due to practical or ethical limitation. But it will include experimental and comparison groups. Okay. See the characteristics. It will include experimental and comparison groups, but there is no randomization and it is conducted in real life settings and there is just moderate level of control and validity. Okay, it is almost like an experiment, but not completely an experiment. Because what are the experimental qualities that it is following? It will include experimental and comparison group. That means it will include independent and dependent variable. It will follow cause and effect relationship. And it is conducted in real life situations. And there is some control and validity. But what is not making it a true experiment? Randomization. Randomization is not there. And some control and validity is not there. That's why it is called quasi-experimental design. That means quasi means partly or almost. Okay. Example, comparing performance of two existing classes without random selection. Okay. I think you might have got clarity what is quasi-experimental design. Okay. Comparison is there between two existing classes, but there is no random selection. Random selection is main thing for an experiment to proceed. Importance of experimental research design is it establishes clear cause and effect relationships. It ensures accuracy, objectivity, and scientific validity. It helps in testing hypothesis systematically, and it supports evidence-based decision making. It is useful in improving teaching methods and educational practices. It helps in developing new innovations and strategies. It minimizes bias and other external influences, and it provides reliable and generalizable results. I hope this answer is very clear. If you have any doubts regarding this particular answer, because what I personally feel is this answer is a bit tricky. That's why I took a lot of time and explained this answer in detail, every word. So if you find anything more challenging in this uh, answer, you can please mention it in the comments. I will definitely find out a way to answer it to you all, either in the comments or I will make a short video. Somehow I will find a way, but please mention it in the comments. If you want more examples also, I can provide. What is validity in experimental research? Validity refers to accuracy, correctness, and truthfulness of research findings. In experimental research, validity indicates whether the study actually measures what it is intended to measure and whether the conclusions that are drawn are justified and reliable. So, in simple terms, validity answers the question, are the results of the experiment true and meaningful? Okay, the research study is considered valid when the results are accurate, they're based on proper evidence, and they reflect the real situation or phenomenon. Validity is very important because even if the research is well designed, lack of validity can lead to wrong conclusions and in, ineffective decisions. Types of validity in experimental research: internal validity and external validity. Internal validity, in simple terms, it can be defined as the extent to which the results of a study are accurate or are effective in that particular research itself. Okay, that means, uh, see, it refers to the extent to which the observed effects in the study are due to the independent variable. Independent variable is present within the research study itself and not due to the external factors. Did the treatment really cause the observed result? Okay, so this is within the particular research itself. It is not going outside the particular research. So it ensures that the cause and effect relationship is genuine. Okay, it because it is within the research itself, it measures the genuinity of that particular research. It eliminates the influence of extraneous or external variables. It focuses on accuracy of the experiment within the study. What are the threats to the internal validity? History. Okay, external events, history in the sense that external events affecting the results. Maturation, natural changes in the participants over time. See, participants, a person cannot be stable. Okay, a person's nature is dynamic; it keeps on changing. Okay, with respect to his environment. So, this natural changes in the participation over time poses a threat to internal validity. Okay, testing effect, influence of repeated testing, then instrumentation, changing in tools or methods, selection bias, difference between the selected groups. If students, if students improve due to extra tuition instead of teaching method, internal validity is affected. This example will explain everything. Okay, this one example is enough for you all to get the clarity of this internal validity. If the classroom teaching method is not working, and if a student is getting benefited, is getting good marks because of some external tuition, then there is no point of internal validity. You have understood, I hope. Okay, so internal validity is affected. Okay, then what is external validity? External validity refers to the extent to which results of a study can be generalized. Generalized, that means it can be extrapolated outside the research work also. Generalized to other situations, populations, or setting. Okay, this question you see. Can the results be applied in real world situation also? That means you are extrapolating your research work to real world situation. You are not staying within the research work. You are expanding. That means you are going external. This one, you are in internal validity. You are not expanding. You are staying within the research itself. Okay, you are not expanding, you are not taking external variables. You're only looking within the internal. Okay. Whereas external validity, you're trying to apply whatever you have done in your research to the real world situations also. Okay. It ensures generalization of findings. That means you are taking extra other things also in your research. You are widening your research. Generalization means that you are applying your research to various things. That is generalization. It applies results to different groups and environment. It focuses on practical usefulness of research. This is not internal validity is not focusing on practical usefulness. Okay, but external validity main its main focus is on practical usefulness. What are some threats to external validity? Artificial environment. Okay, then limited sample size. If the sample size is limited, then it is not external validity. It should be huge. Then Hawthorne effect. Participants behave differently when observed. Okay. When observed in one particular situation, they behave in one way. When observed in another environment, they behave in another way. So as the nature and environment of the person changes, if the person keeps on changing according to the situation, then it is a threat to external validity. And some specific conditions are not applicable. Okay, like some specific conditions cannot be generalized. Okay, that is also posing a threat to external validity. Okay, example, teaching method tested in one school may not work the same way in another school. That is a big threat, no? If a teaching method, if you are a teacher in government school, whatever method she follows to teach the students, it cannot be used in an international school. And whatever method that teacher adopts in an international school, she cannot use that in government school. The teacher has to teach according to the school. So that is a serious threat to external validity. Just go through these examples, you will get full clarity of internal and external validity. How to ensure validity in experimental research? First, use proper research design. Okay. Then control the extraneous variables. Okay. Then random assignment. So what is random assignment? Random assignment is, we have come across this word many times in the previous slides also. It is a process in experimental research in which participants are allocated to different groups purely by chance. Like, let's say there are three groups, okay, and there are nine members, nine participants. Now, each of the participant, like group A, group B, group C, each of the nine participants are randomly divided into group A, group B, group C. There is no pre-planning, like three people should go to group A, these three people should go to group B. There is nothing like that. There is nothing pre-planning that is happening in random assignment. Randomly, all the nine of them are put into various groups. Why this is done? This is done so that every individual, uh, should feel that they are treated equally. Okay. every individual should feel that they are treated in a fair way. So this random assignment will reduce bias and ensure fairness. Okay. Then use of reliable and valid tools and use of adequate sample size. Like if it is an internal validity, if you're trying to use internal validity in your research, then you have to use a small sample size. If it is external validity, then you have to use a large sample size. So adequate sample size is very important. Question number 8. What is literature review? It is very important. Literature review in research is extremely important. Okay, literature review is a systematic, organized, and critical study of existing research work. Okay, whatever previously research work has been done, people will study that related to a particular topic. It involves collecting, analyzing, and evaluating information from books, research papers, journals, reports, theses, and other scholarly sources. It is not just a summary of previous sources, but critical examination and synthesis of existing knowledge to understand the current status of research in a particular field. It helps to gain deeper understanding of the topic. It will help to identify any, if there are any research gaps. Okay, then it will build a strong theoretical foundation. Okay, in simple term, it answers what has already been studied about this topic. Okay, then meaning and important aspects of literature review. It is a systematic process. It involves critical evaluation. It helps in identifying various trends, patterns, and relationships, and it will provide a strong background and context knowledge for the further research studies, and it will ensure that the research is based on existing knowledge. What are the objectives? To understand the existing knowledge, to identify any research gaps, that is, whether any further research is needed in that particular topic, to avoid duplication of research, to develop theoretical framework, and to refine the research problem, to formulate hypotheses, and to select appropriate research methods, to understand research trends, to evaluate the quality of previous research, and to provide direction for future research. What is the purpose of review of related literature? Okay, review of related literature RRL is a systematic study of previous research studies, books, journals, reports, and other relevant sources related to a particular research topic. It is a very important step in the research process that helps the researcher to gain a comprehensive and detailed understanding of the subject. Okay, the purpose of reviewing a literature is not just to collect information, but to analyze, compare, and synthesize existing knowledge. The purpose of review literature is to understand the background of study, to understand if there are any research gaps, to avoid duplication of research, to refine the research problem, to develop theoretical framework, to formulate hypotheses, to select appropriate research methods, to understand the research trends and patterns, to evaluate previous research, and to provide direction for current study. This is same like the previous question. What is descriptive research? Explain its types. So it is a research that focuses on describing the present status, characteristics, conditions, or relationship of a phenomenon. Okay, it provides systematic, accurate, and factual accounts of what exists without manipulating any variable. It is mainly concerned with what rather than why. Okay, the researcher observes, records, analyzes, and interprets the data as it naturally occurs. Okay, descriptive research is widely used to study student performance and behavior, teaching methods and classroom environment, attitude, interest, and learning difficulties, school conditions, and education system. Example, study on study habits of student or teacher effectiveness. Okay, what is the meaning? Okay, descriptive means to describe or explain anything in detail. It answers the questions like what is happening, what are the present conditions, what are the characteristics of the group. What are the characteristics of descriptive research? It focuses on present condition, that is the current situation. It is non-experimental in nature. It does not involve any manipulation or control of variables like how we do in experiments. It is systematic and organized. It follows a structured process. Then it involves fact-finding approach. That is, it aims to collect accurate, objective, and real information. It uses large sample sizes. It uses multiple data collection tools like questionnaires, interviews, observations, rating scale. And it is a flexible approach, and it provides a future for basis for further research. Types of descriptive research. Survey studies. You know what survey is a very common one. Survey research, it includes collection of data from large number of respondents or people to understand their opinions, attitudes, behaviors, and conditions. So it covers large population and it provides generalized results. Then next one is correlational studies. Okay, it studies the relationship between two or more variables. How one variable is related to other. Like example, relationship between study, time, and marks. These three are three different variables, and we are studying the relationship between the three of them. Okay. Then third one, casual comparative studies. Ex post facto. This is also called like that. Okay. This method compares two or more groups to find the possible causes of the differences. So comparison is done to find out the differences. Okay. Um, Example, comparing urban versus rural students' achievement, private versus government school performance. Okay, these are the examples. Then developmental studies. Okay, developmental research basically studies the growth and changes in individuals over a period of time. It is used in child development, learning development, and psychological studies. Types of developmental studies. First, longitudinal study. Study the same group over a long period of time. Helps in understanding continuous development and progress. Example, following the same students from primary to secondary level. Then cross-sectional studies. Study of different groups at the same time. This one, same group over a long time. This is different group at the same time. Okay, it is used for quick comparisons. Example, comparing class 5, 8 and 10 students. These are different group of students simultaneously. Then importance of descriptive research helps in understanding real life educational situations and then used for educational planning and policy making, improves teaching methods and learning outcomes, identifies problems, needs, and trends in education, and provides foundation for further research. And the final question is write a short note on ethnography. Okay, ethnography is a type of qualitative research method that focuses on in-depth study of people, cultures, and social groups in their natural settings. Okay, ethnography is derived from two words, ethno and graphy. Ethno means people or culture. Graphy means write or describe. Okay, ethnography is a detailed description of the culture and the way of life of a group of people. Okay, in educational setting, it is used to study classroom culture, student interaction, teacher-student relationships, school environment, and practices. So, meaning of ethnography we have discussed. Like it answers the questions like how students behave in classroom, what are the cultural practices in school, how do teachers and students interact. Key features of ethnography. First is natural setting of the groups. Then participant observation. Then qualitative data is collected in the form of observations, interviews, and field notes. Then it is a holistic approach. It is an in-depth study. It is a flexible method. Purpose of ethnography is to understand the culture and lifestyle of a particular group, to study social interactions and relationships, to explore beliefs, values, and practices, and to gain a deep and meaningful understanding of human behavior and to improve educational practices based on real classroom situations. So these are the examples. What are the advantages? It provides rich, detailed, and real life data, and it helps in understanding complex social behaviors. It provides deep insights into cultural practices, and it is useful in improve teaching and learning process. What are the limitations? It is time consuming. The results may be subjective and it is difficult to generalize the findings and it requires skilled observation and interpretation.